Okay, in this video we'll talk about George Gankas, who is a coach near Los Angeles, very popular these days, and as you can tell by watching this part of the video, maybe doing some things that are a little bit different, perhaps a little bit unorthodox, and we'll try to figure out, is he for real, is he not? What exactly is going on with this instructor, his team, and why are they having such a profound effect on golf? As you can see, a little unorthodox, maybe not setting the mold of the LPGA, but let's find out what's happening.
Asked me, hey, do you want to show what you teach? And I'm like, well, I think that's part of the secret. I said, I never really had a coach, so I have watched a couple coaches coach in the last 10 years, and I'm so different than the way they teach. And that doesn't mean my way's better at all, that's not what I'm saying. But my style's so different because I wasn't molded into do it this way, this way.
What up, Pete?
What up, bro?
I went to the aquarium today.
Did you? Okay, so go to top. So now what's this doing if I left this here? I don't want it to go down, but I want, yeah, we're not going down still.
It's really been great to study some of these new instructors out there and watch what they're doing in the world of golf and see how they are making a very positive impact on golf in general. And they're really going back in time, I would say more into the 50s and 60s, learning from those type of players, and even earlier, Sam Snead here on the video, and really showing that players that are sliding around, moving laterally left and right, are not playing very well. It's very hard to be consistent when you're sliding. If you look at Snead here, he's pushing down into the ground at this point. Everyone used to talking about sort of the Sam Snead sort of bowing his legs, but it's much more than that when you look at the data gathered off pressure mats and other things that, you know, at this point he's pushing into the ground. He is separating sort of in a squat move, or his knees are sort of in that sort of separated position, but he is pushing down more. And if you watch an old Faldo swing, some of the things he used to work on with Ledbetter, dropping the soccer ball, some of you might be familiar with those old moves. It's helpful. That was called a separation move, moving the left away from the right, but in reality, if there's a down pressure, if you push down, you create more force, you create more pressure in your legs and into the ground, and then you can swing harder. You can generate more force and more power, and that's certainly what you see Snead doing here. I think another really good way to look at swings this day and age, they're being coached to rotate better. Certainly something I've tried to help people with is to rotate and not slide. And rotation creates more power as long as you can use your legs properly. So of course we've got John Daly on the left, Jamie Sadlowski on the right, and when you watch him wind it up, you're going to see a wind up without lateral shifting. Hips are turning in a circle. They're not shifting weight or sliding into the back leg. You can tell there's just a big turn here in the center and a turn in the center. In the 80s, we had a lot of rock and block, sliding around, shift right, shift left. But some of the best players in history, you know, before there was ever any real coaching or video, they were just turning, and people were taught to turn in the barrel. That was really the most common thing that was taught through the 40s, 50s, 60s, just like these players do here. They are tilted behind the ball, but they're not shifting or sliding over into the back hip. And then from there, when they change direction, they simply put the pressure downward and not forward. And they're putting the pressure down into the ground. The left hip is turning behind them. The right hip is turning, but they are not sliding forward. There is not a slide. Now there's pressure change in the feet, don't get me wrong. When you look at all the data, there's a pressure change, but when you try to create pressure change by sliding or moving forward toward the target too early, you create a lot of problems. So as you come down this way, now it impacts, same thing, the player's hips are still very much inside the barrel, not sliding forward. And if you watch a lot of the Gankas videos, you'll see that he's a big fan of rotation, trying to get people's arms to be fairly quiet coming down and not creating a lot of trouble. You see players like this here where it's just incredible what happens with this rotation after the downforce allows them to create a tremendous amount of club head speed. But it's not armsy, it's not handsy. Club face is very stable through impact, and it's quite repeatable. I mean, John Daly is an amazingly straight long driver. as is Jamie Sadlowski. Sadlowski, probably the straightest long driver we've ever seen, because he's able to get that club on plane so well and knock it underneath. One of his best students right now is Matt Wolf, who just won the NCAA individual title. You can see from his swing, takes it up and drops it in, much like some other Gankas students do. But not all of his students have the same swing, that's for sure. I would say the commonality would be great rotation, great shallowing of the shaft or getting on plane, and a very stable club face coming through impact. And I think that's some of the sort of the hallmark of the things he coaches into players, is the ability to be athletic, use their legs, use their talent as an athlete to wind up and give it a rip. Lots of speed, lots of power, but also a lot of control. This video here, just a couple drills that he's done with a guy named Johnny Ruiz, which is one of his students. A lot of power, but like I said, a lot of consistency and control. It's not just that he's teaching power or that he's teaching any sort of method. He is understanding biomechanics and physics to a very high level. So I've had many people over the last couple years ask me, what I think of what he teaches. I really didn't know at the beginning, but having studied it quite extensively, I believe he's really onto some great stuff. Not far off from some of the things that other great coaches have worked on. He's just been able to put it all together in, I think, a much better way. Some of the language he uses might be a little difficult for people to understand, but do I think he's right? I do. I think he's right on. I don't think it's going to turn into a method. I hope it doesn't turn into a method. I know he has some guys he's training to teach, and I hope it becomes, stays very individualized to each player. But as you can see here, very different sort of movements, teaching players how to rotate, how to use the ground, how to use their legs better. But I can't find anything from my background that I've studied. I just can't argue with it. The way he gets people on plane, the way he tries to get them shallowing the club, I think is very good. I think he's very well schooled. He's done his homework, and the results speak for themselves. He's having a tremendous amount of success working with players, and I think it is going to move golf forward greatly, get us out of all this lateral shifting and get people back into rotation and give them more club head speed, creating more power and more control, believe it or not. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know, but I would say if you're looking for some power, if you're looking for a little more accuracy, study some of his videos. I think you'll like what you see. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.